Hey, what's going on? So today I wanted to talk about something that I use in a lot of my tracks, and it's used in a lot of tracks in general, both on the radio and by your favorite producers, and that is compression and sidechaining. So basically what compression is it takes the loud parts of a track and the quiet parts of a track and compresses it to try to make it a more consistent volume. So that can be used on your entire track as a whole, your finished product, or it can be used on your individual tracks such as vocals, drums, guitars, any instrumentation. One of the ways this is used often is on a vocal track. If someone's singing really loudly in one part of the recording and really quietly in a different part of the recording, you can use compression to try to make that more consistent. That way you can mix it into your song a lot more effectively. But as I mentioned, you can also use it in different instrumentation. So I've prepared a beat that we can use to display compression and how you can try to implement it effectively. Here's the original track. So I think the first thing that we can do is apply some compression to the drums, just because even if we don't want to leave that in the finished product, it will really effectively show how compression works. So there are three main aspects to compression to be aware of and to keep in mind. Those are threshold, ratio, and output. So the first one being threshold. So this is a visual representation of what the drum track sounds like, as you can see here. Boom, boom, bop, boom, boom, bop, boom, 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 bop, boom, boom. So basically, when there's the wider portions of the waveform, it's the kick or the snare, and then the thinner portions are just when it's going to be the tail off of the ride cymbals or the tail off of the kicks, the kick drums. So what the threshold does, it allows you to pick a point in the sound where it's going to be affected. So let's say our threshold is right here. Everything above the threshold is going to be affected by the compression. Everything below it is going to remain unchanged. So everything above the threshold line is what is going to start to be turned down, and that's where ratio comes in. Because even if something is above the threshold line, it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be completely cut off. It just means it's going to be affected by the compressor. So the ratio allows you to say, this is how much I want everything to be affected that's above the threshold. And then the last thing is the output. So because you're turning down all of these louder sections of a track, the track as a whole is going to be a bit quieter. So the output will allow you to offset that. Okay, so let's get to the track. So here are the drums from the beat that I made for the compression. As you can hear, the kick and snare are really what's standing out as the waveform suggests. And I'm going to apply the compression to just the drums. The SP404 is kind of a beast with compression. It's a little hard to tame, but it's going to be really dramatic, which will make it easier to hear what's going on. So let's apply that compression. As you can hear, that kick and snare level really hasn't changed, but in between those sounds, you're getting a lot more of that ride, and it almost turns up as the kick and snare drum fade out. So here's the original, and here's compressed. So now we can get to the really fun part, which is sidechaining. Sidechaining is used in hip-hop production from producers like Knowledge, but it's also used in house music. It really gives you that that pumpy sound. So what sidechaining is it basically allows you to use one track to determine the threshold for compression of another track. I'll show you what I mean. So this is the drum waveform from the beat that we're using. And then this is the instrumental waveform from the beat that we're using as well. And basically what sidechaining allows you to do is when you have one track exceed a certain threshold, it will apply compression to another track that you have it implementing on. So what this can do, let's say we apply the sidechaining from the kick drum of the drum track onto the instrumentation. That means every time the kick hits, the instruments in the sample are going to get quieter. This gives like a really cool pumping effect, and it makes your kicks sound really big. The whole drum track will sound so much bigger. So the MPC has a built-in effect, and it's called Mother Ducker, and basically it is a sidechainer. Let's say you want to have the kick drum from the drum track compress the sample, or have the sample be sidechained to the kick drum. The first thing you do is you go to your drum track in the pad mixer and you click on that kick drum that you want. And then you go to Inserts and apply the Mother Ducker input. Right now, that's not going to change anything to the kick drum. You won't even notice that it's there. But what it does is it tells the system that that kick drum is what is going to be used to affect the sample. So now we go to our sample track, which will be in the channel mixer, and then I apply the Mother Ducker to the sample. So I'm going to turn that off for now just so we can hear the original beat. Here's what it sounds like. So as you can hear, the original track really clean, and then as soon as I apply that Mother Ducker, anytime the kick drum hits, it's going to lower the volume of the sample sound. Let's see, let's hear it. Boom, 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 boom. Here's the original again. And here it is with sidechaining. So as you could hear, right now the sidechainer is really affecting the sample. I wanted to just do that so we could really hear how it's working, but I'm going to turn that down a bit, and then you can hear how it's going to affect the song. So make sure you try sidechaining in your production. I really hope this tip helped out. Really appreciate you hanging out and watching. Give the video a thumbs up if you like what you saw. Let me know in the comments what you want to see in a future video, and really appreciate you. Thank you so much.